Okay, so now I think if a lot of investors are being blunt, the crux of their interest is probably related to price targets. Of course, it is an important topic, but I think you have a fairly nuanced view of this, Mark. So I wanted to just go through as an overview, how you reached the figures that you have in terms of your expectation, and obviously we'll go through all of the catalysts in greater depth in the coming slides, but maybe if you want to just give an overview of what are the core tenets of the thesis that drive these assumptions about how we reach these price targets.
Sure. So thanks for that. And I'll focus on that. And you did mention that your audience was interested. So I'll try to stick to the price targets and the catalysts, and then the layer behind that, which is why those catalysts will create the price action. So the first one was the SEC approval. The SEC approval did not happen on January 10th of this year. It happened on August 29th of last year, when Judge Rao rendered her 21-page opinion from a federal court that called the SEC's argument against a spot Bitcoin ETF arbitrary and capricious 8 times. And the last word in her argument was that it was unlawful. She put the SEC on notice for contempt of court and fines and maybe more. So in 32 years of being in the markets and 15 in distressed, where we looked at court opinions in bankruptcy, I've never seen an opinion like that. That is why we were so constructive on the SEC, on the fact that we were going to have the approval on January 10th. And then when we saw, so this happened, again, back to Biden doing the executive order that then ended up being a false flag. Industry and courts are what are going to drive and have driven the price so far, because the decline in margin in the financial industry is legion. It's competitive and they need new products. Larry Fink did not get into this business because he believed in Bitcoin, like he says. He went into it because it's a business opportunity that his cadre of advisors had told him is a must. So the fact that you have now, for the first time, a market that represents 40% of all global listed liquid assets, that is the United States, finally having approval, and you have $30 trillion of asset managers now in what Bloomberg called the Cointucky Derby, which was just one of the best monikers I've heard for any type of financial event. And we don't get too much humor in that, as you might imagine. So for those reasons, where we had a legal mandate, we had an industry prerogative, all aligning at the same time with in a competitive atmosphere, so much so that it got coined into a horse race. We think that we're going to have more than $70 million of Bitcoin coming in a day, which is what we've had over the last 18, 19 days. So that's catalyst one. It just started and it's not over.
Mm-hmm.